Hey, what's up everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I got two videos to make here. One on the Lakers Pelicans game. It's going to be taking place at 3 o'clock. And another on a few other thoughts that I have that I don't think go in the same video. I think I have those thoughts in mind now, and I'll just make that video afterward in regards to Pelicans. So here's what I'm thinking about. In regards to Kyrie Irving, I'm hearing that the Dallas Mavericks want to step in front of that situation. Of course, they're trying to bid for him, and that the Brooklyn Nets are interested in Spencer Dinwiddie and possibly another player there as well, Dorian Finney-Smith. Which, to be honest with you, I'm a big fan of Dorian Finney-Smith. I am interested in that player as well, even though I hear the Dallas Mavericks really truly want to trade him for a superstar, and it looks like if they can pull that off, they would actually pull it off. So that's really interesting how that goes. But Spencer Dinwiddie's a player, of course, has been with the Brooklyn Nets for many seasons. Of course, had that injury that pulled him away from the team, but he was really a balling entity for them when he first got there. First couple years there, he was really good for their team. And so I'm not against them trying to have a reunion there. As I said, the same about D'Angelo Russell. I think him going back to Brooklyn is really good. He had his best year with the Brooklyn Nets, and I think he would probably duplicate that if he were to return there. And since they have such good coaching right now, I think anybody who goes there probably play better, given the circumstance. So I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, if I'm Kevin Durant, is that going to make me want to stay? Of course not. I'm out of here. So they got more trades to make if they try to pull that off. Um, here's what I'm hearing also. Ticket TV said that they're working on a deal with the Lakers, of course, trying to work the framework out on our end as well, just trying to see what comparable deals they can look at. Um, and of course, we probably have understanding it's going to be either one or two picks, um, unprotected. I don't know. They'll frame it out based on how they feel about the value, but the picks would likely be included. Um, Westbrook's contract, of course, possibly Lonnie Walker, and I believe that would probably get the deal done unless we want to add a third or fourth team, which is likely. I mean, that's definitely going to happen. And then we would probably send some more expiring contracts, or maybe Max Christie, maybe even Austin Reeves somewhere, in exchange for some more pieces. Now, the reason why I'm throwing Austin Reeves in there specifically is because I'm wondering about this hamstring injury and why it's taking so long for it to heal. And I also know that he's one of the more coveted pieces that the Lakers have right now. So people would be, it's logical to think that they were going to ask for him. And given the fact that he is a free agent and the Lakers do have other people to sign, I'm wondering if he is someone that's expendable, even though for our fan base, he is not. But I'm just wondering from what it is that this team is trying to do, um, what they think of his piece. Now, for me, I'm wondering about the hamstring. If he's not going to play for the rest of the season, and then we got to negotiate with him, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I know he's going to be someone who gets overpaid. So if we can't win that negotiation process, he's one of the more valuable pieces we have, and he should be traded. But he's also one of my favorite players, so I'm not in the business of just giving away guys that I think are extremely intelligent early in their development, which I think he is. By the time this thing is over, I do think Austin Reeves will have made an all-star team. But here's the thing I need to tell you about that. That could be like in his second contract. We got to get there. And if the Lakers can't get him to that point, um, then we need to assess where we're at with everything that we're doing, because we have so little assets and such a very serious, um, short window to win. So if he's a player that can't help us for the rest of the season, and we have a risk of not re-signing him, then based on what it is that we're doing, his value should be considered, along with Lonnie Walker, Thomas Bryant, Patrick Beverly, Russell Westbrook, and every other expiring contract that we have. Because at the end of the day, this team can be reimagined. That's what Laker fans need to understand. We have a core of Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Everything around it can be reimagined. As much as we love it, we can always replace it with things that are better. And that is not something that I love to say, because I really, really like a lot of the players on this team. But our record tells us that there's no upgrade that we can't afford. So that means, with the responsibility we have to this core and the window and the fragile nature of how this team is built, I think smart money may actually do something like that. Strip it all the way down to just those two, and maybe whatever piece you plan on bringing in with Kyrie Irving, and then just reimagining the entire thing. Because my thing is, we need to reset our books. But if there's no way to really reset our books, other than to, because we're keeping our core intact, then you just need to reset as much of it as you can around the core, while not exactly letting yourself go into a position where you don't have enough talent around you. So that's what I'm looking at. Maybe the Lakers are trying to do some variation of that, because I don't think they want to trade Anthony Davis, and I'm pretty certain they want LeBron James to retire a Laker. The further we go into this, the more I think that is more so what they're thinking about. And I know Jeannie's probably like, not probably not with that, but I think overall, the Knights of the Round Table, everybody knows that we're probably got a better couple years ahead of us with him than we do without him, regardless of what we do with our picks. It's just whatever he's going to be doing over the next several years, it's going to be attached to the fact that the Lakers let him walk, or the Lakers couldn't keep him happy. That's bad for our future outlook. So that's what I think is best for the team at this point. And we need to make sure that we learn from the mistakes that we've made. And that part, I don't know. I have my issues with how repetitive some of the mistakes have been thus far. And that's why I'm kind of on the fence about everybody in place. But at the end of the day, the Lakers need to consider what it is that they want to do with these expiring contracts. Because if we keep letting stuff walk out the door and not replenishing it, we're only going to get worse from here. So I've yet to see what I need to see to be as confident that they're on the same page that I'm on in regards to being competitive, certain roster spot, rotation, circumstances, stuff like that. I just want to see a more competitive way to kind of approach the situation, man. I'm just not seeing the mentality that I grew up on watching this organization, in place right now. It's not there. So for Kyrie Irving's situation, I double back and I say I definitely want to win that trade, negotiation process or whatever it's going to be called. But what I don't want the Lakers to do is gut us of players that they would have re-signed to bring us a player that they know they're probably not going to re-sign, but don't want anyone to know that they don't intend to resign. You feel me? Like, I'm listening to the chatter in regards to Kyrie Irving, and it's just a lot of misdirection. We know that the side that doesn't like him, so to speak, the publications that kind of just let us know about all their enemies and how everything's going, they're essentially letting us know about all the different things that don't play in Kyrie's favor. For example, the teams that he's trying to go to, the report has been that they're not trying to re-sign him. You know what I mean? Or that they're considering not giving him a long-term deal. Of course, that's in his favor to get there and hopefully negotiate for that. And now we're hearing about the Dallas trade. Everybody knows he don't want to go to Dallas. These are the type of things where it's like they're trying to essentially see what the next move would be in regards to Kyrie Irving. Is he going to put a list out there in regards to what teams he would like to go to specifically? Is he going to narrow it down, try to force himself to the Lakers? And if so, we can use that to mold yet another position against his character. You see what I'm saying? So this is what I understand. They're trying to smoke him out by trying to threaten to trade him to somewhere he doesn't want to be. And they're going to do that. They can't get out of their own way, Brooklyn. They're going to be spiteful. They showed us that already when they did what they did in regards to applying so much to his situation when they asked him to apologize 176 times. And, throwing his money back, having the whole situation where they threw money back in his face, or however that played out. It was a lot of disrespect attached to it. And we understand that it's going to be a tug of war on the way out the door. So that's what I think the Lakers need to brace themselves for, is the notion that this is about to get ugly. Because Joe Tsai and Sean Marks aren't going to play fair. They haven't been the whole time. That's just what it is. So at this point, he's told them, I wouldn't take your highest amount from you. And now they're going to essentially respond to that, just like they have been for the past 8 months. So I expect them to do everything they can to either force him to force his way to the Lakers or trade him to anywhere but the Lakers. That's what I'm here to tell you. I think there's a very good chance he does not get to the Lakers because of this environment for which spite and war is in place. It's not as simple as let's make a deal. It's, do I want this person to be happy? And the answer is probably not. But here's the deal. Kyrie has a trump card because he can force his way to the Lakers. The package that the Brooklyn Nets are going to be taking back will reflect what it is that they're doing here. So if they make some type of deal with the Dallas Mavericks, bringing back something that isn't good enough, they're going to pay for it, because the next move they're going to have to deal with is KD's feelings about the circumstance and whether or not he's going to want to force his way out. And then the chaos that gets formulated surrounding that circumstance, which is something that they probably do not need. But the spite that they've already displayed has shown me that they're willing to take it there, even if it gives them headaches. So that's what I expect. I genuinely expect that Kyrie Irving's going to have to either force his way to the Lakers or play somewhere else for half a season. Maybe somewhere that would make him unhappy, because that is how they move over there. That's how they do things. So that's what I'm trying to prepare everybody for what I think is probably just the way they seem to be moving right now, the way the whole thing seems to be looking right now. They want to trade him somewhere for sure, but the return that they get, Brooklyn fans particularly, I don't know that you're going to be happy with your return. I don't think so. Because if they trade him to somewhere that he doesn't want to be, even if he forces his way to the Lakers, the return is going to be horrible. Because what essentially he's going to have to say is, I'm going to your team, but there's a chance that I may not even suit up when I get there. Because that's what they want to force him to do. They want to force him in a position so that he can look bad, so that he can say he's bad. Again, that's what it's all about. I'm telling you, I know how they think. I know how this works. They don't want this guy to be happy, and they don't want him to look good where he goes. And if he has to go there, they want him to force his way there in a way that makes him look yet again like somebody who can't lead, can't win, or is going to bring a distraction to the organization. So I already know, man. I already know. And that's one of these situations where I tell the people that don't like him because of things that he posted, or folks who don't like him because they don't understand his energy and they think he's genuinely a bad guy, pay attention to this as I illustrated to you, because I don't believe myself to be a bad guy, and I don't think you'd be listening to me for 12 minutes if you thought I was. And what I'm telling you is, there's a whole entire energy around the situation that has nothing to do with winning and losing, once again, that is in place to position itself in a way to make him look bad. In the presence of whatever you feel, you got to see this is there. If you already think he looks bad, why would they need to help you along with that thought? That's what I have to express my concern, because it's like, yeah, if a guy's a bad guy, that's cool, but why do I need to be told how bad he is in other ways that ain't even true? You know what I mean? If we're not some entity that's not so good also trying to do that. And so what I say is, just understand that you're getting a player, and whatever choices he makes that led him into the position that he has to be in this position are just his choices, and that is what it is. You're taking on the risk of a person who's going to make choices that may or may not lead them in positions to have this type of stuff go on. So that's why I always address Kyrie just the same in this camera and say, if you're not going to commit to what you're doing, or if you're looking to continue to be in this type of situation where this environment's created, it's going to create a strain for your teammates. It's going to create a strain for the environment. It's going to create a strain for winning. And so that's what you need to understand. There are bigger battles to fight, but the smaller ones are affected, and other people are affected when the smaller battles are affected. So it gets tricky, and so I know he wants to do bigger things, and that's why it's almost impossible to do those things while you're playing the sport. And so that's what it really comes down to. I don't know how many more chances he'll get if this doesn't work when the next landing spot he goes to. And that's what I think they're trying to do. If they can force him into a position to look bad in this situation, they can blackball him out of the league if it doesn't go right in the next one, and they can proceed to create the environment for which that'll go wrong too. And the thing about it is, we're watching for that. We're like if that's what you're doing, there's a whole fleet of people that are going to be paying attention to you as you do it. So that's something they need to understand. It's a different day. I can honestly say I'm looking forward to watching him play for the Lakers. Going to Dallas, I don't think that's the greatest fit. I think he can win some games there, but I think him, Wood, and Doncic is a bad defensive tandem, and I don't think they're going to get off the ground in the Western Conference. They're going to run into a team like, honestly, us, and get beat. That's exactly what's going to happen, because a guy like Anthony Davis is going to defend, and Christian Wood is not. And that's really what it comes down to. It's going to be iso ball, Luka Doncic eccentric, Kyrie Irving needs the ball, and Luka's not going to have it. That's a dynamic that's not going to be good at all. So if they can learn to play off one another, it can be some nice offensive games. They can get in the playoffs. They're going to get knocked off. And I know Jason Kidd. He wants to play defense. He's going to hate that. He's going to hate it. So I'm going to tell you right now, it's an awful, awful situation that you're setting up unless you can keep Dorian Finney-Smith, play some defense, and maybe bring some more defenders to them. But if you can't do that, you keep what they got right now and think that's going to work, they're going to put up a lot of points. They're going to be clutch. But some of those games, they're not going to win because they're not going to get the last stop. So that's why I don't think that's the greatest tandem there. But just to be spiteful, people do things. We know that Mark Cuban would love to step on the Lakers. He's been a Laker hater his whole tenure in this situation. And so I wouldn't see him passing up an opportunity to get a guy like Kyrie Irving at a low price. I could see him even be willing to re-sign a guy like Kyrie Irving, but I don't think it would be a smart basketball move. I don't. And for Brooklyn, like I said, Dorian Finney-Smith is a player I like. So if they were to acquire him, I like what they look like defensively. So I'm not going to sit here and say that's not a good piece to get. Also, as I look at Spencer Dinwiddie, he's a good piece. I think you could do better in regards to getting Kyrie Irving. Up out of there, you should probably be able to get some pick equity, but it seems like the Nets are not interested in pick equity, which, this is why Kevin Durant has to really assess what he thinks about this organization, because you want pick equity. You want pick equity in this situation because it gives you more options and flexibility. If they don't want pick equity, that means they don't want things that can help them get about from under, from things that they have that they need to get up from under, like Ben Simmons' contract and Joe Harris' contracts. That pick equity will help them get rid of those contracts in the offseason. So essentially what they're telling you is they don't know how to strategize properly. That's what they're telling me. When they sit up here and say, no, we want to trade away a piece like Kyrie Irving, but instead of getting picks, we want a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith and a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie. No, that's not how you're hustling backwards. You're absolutely hustling backwards. You get the pick equity and you flip that for something that can really, really help you. Possibly players that have upside that is greater than someone like Spencer Dinwiddie. But they want to win now, even though they're not going to win now. It's just silliness, man. It's silliness driven by the wrong stuff. And then they want to be spiteful to a guy like Kyrie Irving. And be spiteful to a guy like KD when he said he want to leave. It's like you're not creating an environment for them to want to stay. You're too busy trying to flex yourself to force people to stay in bad situations instead of making those situations better. And that's what's wrong with Joe Tsai, man. That's exactly what's wrong with the situation over there. Sean Marks, they uphold things that have nothing to do with winning. They want to win battles against the players so that they can feel like they're stronger and, whatever the case may be, feel like they're big men or whatever. But at the end of the day, they're not winning nothing. And they could have. They really could have. They can blame Kyrie Irving stepping away from basketball. It probably didn't help. They can blame injuries. James Harden won an exodus out of there. It probably didn't help. But at the end of the day, there were things they could have did to have made that overall just better. I know they could have. I didn't pay too much attention to it. But judging how they're acting right now, they could have did things better back then to make that entire situation go smoother. But for whatever reason, they couldn't get out of their own way. And this is going to be yet another one of those situations where they can't get out of their own way. The Los Angeles Lakers have 2 picks, an expiring contract of $47 million attached to it that would get them so much 6 months from now. They would have forgotten about Kyrie Irving and anything else they had issues with if they would have just welcomed such a blessing. But nope, they can't do it. They have to be spiteful. They have to continue this tug of war with a man that doesn't even want to fight. You know what I mean? A man that was just basically killing it for him when they didn't have nothing else on the floor because all the other decisions that they made led to injuries. They want to get mad at him for trying to wake up his people. It's one of those situations where I just honestly say it's not about whether or not he's right about what he did or didn't do, or whether he's not right about the ejection or any of that. It's about after he came back, was the environment that he was brought back to any better? Any better? And the answer was no. They needed him. They needed him to play ball. That's why it was a problem. And they still need him. And they're pushing him out the door for reasons that have nothing to do with winning, and that is why they're going to remain a loser. And that's it. That's it. The only thing they should be wanting to do is either keep this player or trade him for the best possible return. That is it. And what are they thinking about? Let's piss him off. Let's make sure that we do something to blackball him out the league. He's one of a trillion players. What is the importance of blackballing him out of the league when you have an entire team to consider? I mean, this is spite, but it's low energy, misdirected spite that leads to losses for the people who engage in this behavior on every level. It leads to losses because you're paying attention to stuff that you shouldn't be. And I guarantee you, someone got their hand in your pocket while you're doing it. That's what this stupidity creates, the environment for which stuff like that can happen while you're distracted in doing it. But that's way too deep for the conversation. The point is, they need to stop engaging in bad energy with this guy Kyrie Irving and focus on the fact that they're going to lose KD. And got Ben Simmons in there, who's probably in the space where it's only going to get worse for him because you're going to lean on him more while he's not healthy. So it's like everybody doing everything wrong, and it creates a bad environment for the athletes. And that's the focus. Forget all this other crap. The athletes are down there unhealthy because, again, down there with players that aren't able to help them, situations where the coaches are stressed out, etc., messes with the rotations, messes with the money. So that's what it is, man. We're not talking about just the sport. The winning is the most important. It's what drives us, but we understand the bigger picture, and we definitely understand what leads to the losses. And it's a lot of number games, it's a lot of spite games, it's a lot of nepotism and bullcrap, leverage bullcrap that has nothing to do with helping these players be competitive and succeed in what they do. So for me, it's like, man, I'm not sitting here blaming these players for reacting to this nonsense. I'm not blaming these players, you know what I mean, for not having it all, you know what I mean, not understanding the world or whatever. These are young men. You want them to be, you know, great leaders, but you also don't want them to be under 31 years old. I mean, get it together, grown-ups. Seriously. Get it together. That's what I gotta say about this. I think we all need to just center it in and understand what we're all doing here. This is a business and it's basketball. So if it's not costing you money and it ain't winning you games, let's move on. Let's move on. Because anything else is gonna lead to failure. So that's what I gotta say about that, man. Everything else, it's just waiting to see what people are gonna do, man. What are you gonna do? I'm looking at the Lakers. I'm like, are you gonna value this talent? I'm looking at Kyrie. Are you gonna choose basketball? I'm looking at the Nets. Are you gonna be spiteful to this dude? Like, what are y'all gonna do, man? Because at the end of the day, you got fan bases on both sides waiting to win, and they paying hard-earned money. You know what I mean? They really are. So that's what it really comes down to. So I hope everybody enjoys their day. I'm in a good space in regards to my own personal mindset. But when I think about this and I think about the energy surrounding it, it's just ridiculous. And a lot of it is misguided. And at the end of the day, guys just need to get on basketball teams to be successful. They need to be in situations where they can do what it is that they do and go home in a peaceful mindset. And anything that creates otherwise probably should be re-examined. It should just be taken a look at. You know, I really believe that. And so that's what it is. Pressure applied on every angle. Everybody's trying to put themselves in a position to get what they want. But if what you want ain't pointed at helping the team situation, you become a cancer to that team. Whether you're the owner, player, coach, whoever. So that's what it pretty much comes down to. Everybody got to be on the string, man. So that's what I got to say. That will conclude this video. I'll get into my little Pelican video, man. If there's any information in regards to this Kyrie situation, I'll deliver it to you guys. You know what I mean? But at this point, I'm just watching. I'm just paying attention, and we will see what happens next. Video 44. I thank you all for watching.